Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope you're having a good day wherever you're at. It's beautiful here in Oklahoma. The humidity is lifted. It's in the 60s, and that's my kind of weather. I'm sitting out here taking a break, enjoying a little bit of this nice weather. Cheyenne and I are working on getting the nursery set up for the baby, and he'll be here in December. That's his due date anyways, and so we're making preparations now to get that all set up. She's beginning to get some of her her mother had a shower for her side of the family on Saturday, so we've got some baby gifts in the living room that need to go into his nursery, so we're trying to get that project done. And we've got projects here on the farm going, and there's always fences to be built or animals to be taken care of one way or another. So it's busy, but it's a good life. I do have an update for you. It's not the most pleasant update, but it's an update concerning Buddy, my little calf that I got at the beginning of summer at the sale. And we had a good run, and a couple of days ago he began to not do so well, and he started coming off of his feed, not wanting to eat, not wanting to drink milk, not wanting to eat his grain. He would eat grass. Just kind of, we let him go around his yard and eat grass as he wanted it, but offering grain and offering his milk, he'd take just a little bit of his milk and he didn't want any more. He lost interest in it, and he got lethargic. Medication wouldn't help, and yesterday I lost him, and we took him to we have a place over here on the property that we take him, and he's over there. And I enjoyed having him. I never got him to think that I was going to make a beef out of him. In fact, when I bought him at the auction, for those of you that don't know, they told us, because you're sitting way back so you can't really see everything, and he was a little baby calf. He come into the sale ring, and they said it was a little heifer, and so that was my first thought, was a little heifer, and I was bringing her home to add her to the crew. And when we got him home and we realized he was a little boy, and we also learned that he either got kicked in the mouth and had a mouth injury that way, or we had a subscriber that suggested that he might actually have a cleft palate. Now, as far as his palate, there didn't seem to be any kind of opening, anything, but his jaw was never lined up correctly, and his teeth were bucked out. And when I first got him, his teeth were all loose, and those tightened up, but he still chewed crooked, and he was buck-toothed. He was really cute, and I enjoyed him while I had him. And I think sometimes in our life the Lord knows that we need something to draw our attention away from something else that's got us down. And I enjoyed my time with him, and I'm thankful that he didn't linger, and he didn't seem to be in a lot of pain, and he just slipped away. So I wanted to tell you that, those of you that asked for updates on Buddy, that I did lose him. But life goes on, and that's not to come across as hard-hearted or anything. It's just the way that it is. So back to today. I was thinking about what to talk about this morning, and I always try to listen to the Lord and what He has. And this thought came to my mind about all the stuff that happened yesterday. Now, we were away from the farm in the afternoon. Cheyenne had a doctor's appointment, and we had some errands that we needed to run afterwards, and so we were away in the afternoon. And so it didn't really impact us a whole lot. But when we got home, you know, the big thing was that Facebook had went down, and the other platforms that go along with Facebook. And I thought about that, and I thought, well, it didn't really impact us a whole lot, but there has been times that different social platforms or the internet in general just went down, and it just about drove us nuts because we couldn't get on the internet. What are we going to do? And you know, we have so much work, truthfully, here at my place, and I'm sure you guys do at your place too, that the internet going down is probably the least of your worries. Now, our business, or when Howie had his business, and now Blade has a business doing the same thing as his dad's business. You do need the internet because that's the way that you know, ordering parts, and you know how you do all that stuff. You order parts and you build customers, and you keep track of your clientele and your vendors, and all that kind of stuff is done on the computer. And it's that way with the big companies too. I used to work for Walmart, and right before I left there, they was working on getting their vendors all switched over to paperless. And we've discussed some of this stuff before about paperless, but anyway, I got to thinking about it. How did you survive with that going down? It's kind of comical. But it could be sad in a way too, because I'm sure there's some people that really and truly had a meltdown. And it's because we rely so much on it. Now, technology is good, don't get me wrong. Technology in a lot of fields, in the medical field, in the you know, in the business realm, there are so many benefits to having those things. And even as individuals, we have Facebook and these other platforms where we keep in contact with family members. A lot of people use Facebook extensively for a lot of things, and I started out using Facebook to keep in touch with family that lived in other states, because you can't, it doesn't, everybody and their dog has a cell phone now, but we don't spend a lot of time talking on the cell phone. We either send a text, or we talk, you know, we contact them on Facebook, or we do all these other things. And so that's how Facebook started out for me. But I thought about that. I thought, what are some things that we need to look for? What are some things that we need to caution ourselves about with all of these things? Number one, in my books, is making sure that we don't lose our ability to communicate with each other in the physical. Now, I know that it's easy to shoot a text message to somebody. And before texting, you know, we would send an email to someone. Well, what happens? You can't read someone's emotions. You can't tell in what train of thought, what emotion was put behind that text message or that email message. I think we do ourselves harm if it's possible for us to look each other in the eye and communicate with each other, to always use technology. And of course, I'm using technology now talking to you guys. I'm not able to, you know, come to your house and sit on your porch and talk to you. I have to talk to you this way. But you know, so technology is a blessing in a lot of ways. But I see so many people that go to dinner together, out to eat or whatever, and they're on their phones the entire time. They're not concentrating on looking each other in the eye and speaking with one another and finding out about their day. So we need to make sure, you know, that we don't lose that ability to have physical communication with one another. Beyond that, we lose a little bit of our civility, because we can really tell someone off in a text message or an email message or on Facebook. I see people airing their dirty laundry all over Facebook, and I'm thinking, my goodness, I don't understand why people want everybody to know everything that's going on in their family. Why do you think it's important that everybody knows who's how Howie would say who's cheating who and who's being true? That's not for everybody in the world of Facebook or Instagram or whatever social platform you're using. That's not ever for everybody to know. Your family business is your family business, and I just, I would caution you to not put everything you know out there for everybody to find out. Besides the social platforms, I think about the internet. And it got me to thinking, yes, it was the social platforms that went down yesterday, but what would we do if the entire internet went down? Now, if the entire internet went down, for me, I'll just tell you how it would affect me. If it went down and it stayed down, well, number one for me is I work on this farm, and every year I have a calf crop. Some years are good, some years not so good. So my job besides farming is my YouTube channel. Do I make a killing on it? No. Am I just rolling in dough? No. But every dime that I make helps, and it's appreciated. I have to try to come up with content, and sometimes I know people kind of scratch their head and say, what was she thinking with this one? But anyway, it's a stretch and a challenge for me, but it is an income. And so if the internet went down entirely, right there, part of my income for myself would be gone. And some of you are the same way. Some of you have beautiful YouTube channels, and that is your entire, that's your job. You don't have another job besides YouTube, and you have a fantastic channel. But if it was gone tomorrow, what would you do? So already we can see that the internet and technology takes care of our communications one with another. It also affects our livelihoods. Like I said, YouTube is my livelihood, and if it went down, where I would be and where some of you would be. A lot of companies do all of their business over the internet. No longer do they have paper invoices coming in. It's all taken care of online. A lot of people, insurance companies do their work online. You can pay all of your bills online, your insurance, your electric bill, your water bill, everything can be paid online. And, we've done away with our statements, your paper statements that you get through the mail. A lot of people don't get those anymore. We don't want them. We've got it all on the computer. Another thing that we have all wrapped up in technology is your pictures. Now, I'm big on pictures, photographs, and a lot of my photos are stored on my computer. A lot of pictures are taken care of on my phone. We don't have photo albums anymore. We don't keep track of our photos in a traditional way anymore, where you open a cabinet and grandma's got 15 or 16 photo albums in a big box that has a bunch of snapshots thrown in it for you to go through when all of y'all are at a family reunion or something, looking at your pictures and poring over the memories and those kind of things. Technology has taken a lot of that stuff. We store our recipes on there. If you have a Pinterest account, you know good and well that you build all those little boards and you try to keep all of your stuff sorted into baking recipes and homemade remedies, and all these different things are stored on there. And that's great to have all of that stuff, but we don't have any backup. No longer do we have phone books. Used to, we would have stack of phone books. Howie had this thing for phone books. You know, he had his ads in there for his business, and he would have stacks of phone books from different counties and from different places, and you don't have those anymore. We don't get phone books anymore because everybody's got access to phone numbers on the internet and through our cell phones, and so phone books has become a thing of the past. Cookbooks and first aid manuals. What else has the internet replaced? The internet has replaced in a lot of homes, not every home. I know that this doesn't count towards everybody because some of you are really wise and you can see the danger in it. But the internet in a lot of ways have replaced our bookshelves. How many of us could say that we have a bookshelf at our house? We have it stocked with books on animal husbandry if you need them on your farm, or books on gardening, and books, first aid manuals, and recipe books, and books on health, books on repairs and how to, maybe you need to have a book on plumbing repairs and auto mechanics, and maybe you need some history books. I think we all need history books so that we can go back and read where we came from. So if there were mistakes made in the past, and we know there were, that we learn from them so we don't repeat them again. All kinds of stuff. And our children and our grandchildren need books. They need something in their hands to read. They don't need to just watch it on television or watch it at the movies or watch it on their cell phone or whatever it is they're doing. You get some books and you put it in those babies' hands and you let them read those books. What else has it replaced? I see a lot of people reading their Bible on their cell phone. I suppose there's nothing wrong with that. They're reading the Word. But what we're talking about today is if the internet went away, what would we miss out on? Where would the technology, or where would our information be? If you've got a really good memory, perhaps you've stored a lot in there. In years past, I could brag on having a fairly good memory, but I have realized here lately, if I don't write it down, a lot of times I forget it. And it could be something that I learned that morning, or a message that I was supposed to give someone, and it'll go in one ear and right out the other. So I don't depend on my memory as much as I used to remember things. I know that I need to have it written down. I need to have it somewhere. And those cell phones are smart. You got a calendar, you've got a clock, you've got a calculator, you've got a camera, you have a way to look your pictures up, a photo album. It's all of those things, and it's great. But what if it all went away? Here's what I think. I think we need to get back to having some hard copy. I know people don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff laying around so that their kids and grandkids have to go through it when we've checked out of here. I know good and well Blade's not going to want to dig through all of my stuff. But if we lost the internet, there's a whole lot of things we're going to lose. Somebody needs to know it. Now, I know people are shaking their heads and thinking that won't happen. There's no way that we can lose the internet. You know, a few years ago, I might have told you, yeah, you're probably right. There's smart enough people that they can get it back up and running. And they got the problem yesterday up and running. But you know what? The more I see things going on, the more ripples, the more waves that I see crashing, the things that we didn't think was possible just a few years ago that have happened to us, the things that were shut down, opened back up, being threatened to shut down, people wringing their hands, wondering what in the world they're going to do. I can see the possibility of something perhaps happening sometime and not having access to the information. So this is what I'm going to do. And this is just a suggestion for some of you guys. I'm not in any way am I trying to discourage you from technology. The technology is great. It's great. and I was a late bloomer on technology. I had a little old-timey flip cell phone until after Howie passed away. And then Blade and Cheyenne encouraged me and said, you need to get a new phone. So I just got an iPhone 12 in January, and I saw an advertisement the other day for an iPhone 13. So I'm going to hold on to mine because it costs too much money just to throw it away and go get another one. And mine's good for me. But anyway, technology is a good thing. But let's make some preparations in case something happened. What's wrong with having backups to your backup? You know, we do that with everything else, or we should have backups in our foods, backups for sure in our water, backups in, don't you have a spare vehicle? If something happens to your vehicle, your car, your truck, you have another idea in mind. Either you have a spare or you know someone you can borrow from. Then I think we should do the same thing with the things that we choose to let technology take care of. One, we should be able to communicate with one another, to look one another in the eyes if we're local, of course. If not, you know, we should be able and have a desire to pick up the phone and keep in contact with one another and say, hey, I'm just calling to make sure that you're okay. And write a letter. Get you some paper and a pencil or a crayon or a marker or a pen and write somebody a letter. I love getting letters from my subscribers, people that I have never in my life met, but I feel like I'm building friendships with people. I have people that have offered, if I ever needed to come and stay with them. Beautiful ladies that I feel a kindred spirit with. Ladies that families that I enjoy talking with, and they're encouraging to me, and I can encourage them as well. Write a letter, you know, keep in contact with one another. Besides the communication, your knowledge is important. And so find yourself an area in your house. Might have to clear out a little bit of clutter and build yourself a bookshelf. You know, go buy you a cheap bookshelf. However, I'll tell you, I've had a cheap bookshelf and it didn't take long for the shelves to begin to bow. And when I went to move it the other day out to the storage shed, my bookshelf fell apart and there was no saving it. So now I've got to have another bookshelf built, a good sturdy bookshelf. And then put on that bookshelf things that you know in the future that if you lost your ability to look something up instantly, you can go to your bookshelf and find it. Listen, I love technology when I'm studying my Bible lesson for when I teach Sunday school on Sunday morning. I love to be able to look up a word and make sure that I have a clear understanding of what that word means. And all I have to do is just punch it in and it comes right up. I love that. But I want to have the ability that if I can't do that, I can go to my bookshelf and I can pull out a dictionary and I can look that word up. A good old set of encyclopedias, and we've talked about books before, I know that, but get you a designated area and build you a bookshelf. On that bookshelf, put some first aid manuals. On that bookshelf, if you have animals, you need some books on animal husbandry to know how to take care of them if there's an injury or if there's a sickness or if they're lacking in some kind of mineral or vitamin. Animals are like humans in that way. There are vitamins and minerals and things that they need, and we need to be able to help them. You need to have books if you're interested in essential oils or you're interested in herbs and you know, foraging. You need some good books on making sure that you're not going to kill your family by something that you picked out in the wild and trying to feed them. Books on mushrooms and you know, plants and trees and fish and all the animals. An old set of encyclopedias. All those kind of things that we've done away with because that, you know, those technology devices make things so much easier. Get your photos, hard copies of your photos. I'm going to tell you, you'll appreciate those photos. I cherish every photo, snapshot or professional, that I have of Howie. I have pictures of him leaning back in the recliner sleeping, and I have pictures of him on the stage singing a song or preaching the gospel, and I cherish those. I have pictures of Blade sitting in his high chair with blueberry buckles smeared all over his little face. My little niece reaching up on the table to get M&Ms off the table when she was teeny tiny. Those are precious, precious memories. And you don't want to lose those memories. Put those photo albums on that bookshelf and get those pictures out of that, out of your camera and off of your computer, and make hard copy pictures of them so that you've got them and that you can look back at them and you can enjoy them, even if something was to happen to technology. Just get a good address and phone book and write down your addresses, write down your phone numbers of all of the contacts that you have stored on your computer and on your phone. Write those down so that you've got hard copy of that. Find you a good old-fashioned filing cabinet and start making some hard copies of your statements. When you pay your electric bill, when you pay your water bill, when you pay your phone bill, when you pay your credit cards, when you take care of your doctor bills and all of those. Make you some hard copies of those. I know y'all think I'm crazy for that, but I just simply think that it's important to be able to point back to that if the case ever arises and say, yes ma'am, yes sir, I paid that. This is how I paid it and this is when I paid it. And write down those confirmation numbers and write down all of that stuff and put it in that good old-fashioned filing cabinet. Now those of you that are like me that have a Pinterest account and you got all these fancy boards and you got all your stuff sorted into all these little nice and neat little areas, and you keep your bread recipes in one area and you keep your all these things in all these different categories, it's not going to do you any good to have that all saved and the internet go down and you're not able to access it. So get you out some 3-ring binders and print those things off and put those in your binders. You know, maybe you are someone that likes to crochet, and so you've saved some crochet patterns. Well, it's not going to do you any good if you don't have a hard copy of it. If you didn't have access to it on your computer. It's not going to do you any good if you if you have a category of homemade tinctures and salves and all of these things if it's stored on your computer. Make a hard copy of it. And so what if the internet never goes down and you've got the internet and you've got your phone and you also have a bookshelf that has a binder on it that has all this information in it. You never know when you may have to leave home and not have access to the internet, but you can grab that binder and take it with you. Guys, I know today it probably seems kind of crazy to talk about that, to bring that up, but I was thinking about that and I thought if people panicked over losing Facebook and its other companies for a little while, what would we do if we lost the entire internet and our ability to have internet access and have access to send text messages and all of that? So let's have backup to our backup in all the areas of our life. And I don't think there's a thing wrong with having our cookbooks and having our anything that we find important to store on our computer and on our phone should be important enough to have a backup, a hard copy backup of it. Guys, I'm gonna go for the day. I have lots to do. I hope you find this interesting, a little bit humorous maybe. I know some of you might even roll your eyes at the information that I gave you for the day, but maybe you'll be thankful that you made some hard copies of some of your stuff. Well, it's Josie, guys. I love you. I really do. And until next time, me and Sadie. Tell everybody hi, Sadie. We're gone.